Hey everyone, it's BigBossBilly. Now, I've been really enjoying putting out all this YouTube content. A lot of you guys seem to really appreciate, especially my Civilization 6 videos. But if you watch my most recent Let's Play Civ 6 multiplayer video, you notice that by the end of the video, my screen capturing software completely locked up and froze. The problem is, my processor couldn't handle running OBS Studio with Civ 6 at the same time, doing all that video encoding. So this got me thinking, is it time to upgrade my 7-year-old computer? I built this thing in 2009 when I was still in college, and it's kind of out of date. Started looking into what I would want to do if I wanted to upgrade it. I need a new motherboard, RAM, CPU, GPU, basically everything but the shell of the computer. And I decided if I want to do it, I'm going to go big or go home. Getting into this video encoding, I need an i7. And I'm like, I'd probably drop $900,000 on it. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'll do it, but let's sit on it a little while. In the meantime, I'm going to try overclocking my computer. Now, I remember way back when I built this, I thought I might get around to this eventually, so I put in an aftermarket CPU cooler, but I never did it. It all seemed fine to me. I was always bottlenecked by my GPU. I even upgraded my graphics card a couple years ago. I never really had an issue with the CPU until now I'm getting into all this video encoding. And so I'm like, all right, let's see what we can do to overclock this bad boy. Now, if you look here, my CPU is an Intel Core i5-750. It's default 2.6 gigahertz. Now you can see here, it's actually running at 3.2 when Turbo Boost is enabled, but that's just when a single core is running. So in video games, under high load, all 4 cores are running. They're all running at just 2.6 gigahertz. So I did some research and I found that this CPU is actually a pretty good overclocker. People are getting this up to 4 gigahertz. So I thought, hey, let's try it. First, I had to bust open this old computer and clean it out. It was really dusty. So apparently for the last 7 years, I've had my CPU cooler on backwards. This fan blows air through the heatsink, so I really should have it twisted out so you're blowing air this way right out these exhaust fans. Both these fans are exhaust, so this fan should be on this side blowing air through the cooler out the top and back. So since I had to reorient the CPU cooler anyways, I figured it'd be a good time to clean it off, this old thermal paste, get rid of it, reapply it. All right, I got my heatsink installed the correct way this time. I struggled with clearance of the fan over the RAM modules here, but I eventually got it in. So this should be good. You should have good airflow straight across my CPU now. So once I got the computer all back together, I used a guide that I'll link in the description below for how to overclock an i5-750. It took a little while. Thankfully, I had a solid state drive. When you overclock a computer, basically what you do is you slowly increment up your clock speed as well as a couple voltage settings in your BIOS. Every time you do it, you then have to boot into your operating system and do a little bit of a stress test to make sure that the system is still stable. Then you go back to the BIOS, increase your clock speed, increase your voltage if you have to, boot up, make sure it's stable. And I went through this process until I got it to 3.8 gigahertz pretty easily. I only had to increase my core voltage to 1.3, which is not very high. Some people push it a lot higher. They really push the temperatures and the voltage on their computers. But I'm like, hey, I just got from 2.6 gigahertz to 3.8 gigahertz easily, and I'm happy with that. So this afternoon, I just recorded another Civilization 6 video. It worked perfectly, 60 frames per second, full 1080p. The encoding was completely smooth, and I had no frame rate issues in the game. So it really looks like this helped improve my CPU to help me put out more videos for you guys.